All right, I've said this before, but now I feel even more strongly. I think ONIMUSHA Way of the Sword might be pretty cool. It feels like ONIMUSHA is back. So I got to play quite a bit of this game. I did talk about this previously. I got to see a lot of gameplay behind the scenes at Summer Game Fest a few months back, so I might be repeating some things, but here I now finally got my hands on the game. Got to play through like a 15-20 minute chunk twice, and I have quite a bit to say about it. ONIMUSHA Way of the Sword, to me, feels very much like a good action hack and slash. It doesn't completely fall prey to trying to do the next big thing, like try and feel quite like a Sekiro or a Dark Souls. It still very much feels to me like a hack and slashy adventure, and that's kind of what I want from this franchise. I have a lot of love for the original ONIMUSHA that was released on PlayStation 2 back in the day. As a young kid with a PlayStation 2, looking for that next big thing, you know, being addicted to Resident Evil, here comes a new game from Capcom that is, yeah, you know, you can kind of compare it a little bit to like the tank controls of Resident Evil at the time, but it does its own thing. It was really cool. It had an iconic character in Samanosuke, and of course, from there, the series really blew up. But it was, for me, it was that first game and those gross, terrifying monsters and the really tight, brutal sword combat with good sound effects, good visuals. Like, it seems like they're really carrying that all over here. The slash of a sword, when it connects with these gross zombie-like enemies, you really hear that crunchy, gross splat, like, you know? It's something, it's hard to describe, but like you had to have played the original game to get it. I was looking for stuff like that, and I did get it here. What I do also like is this new main character. So this is technically like a Musashi from history, but being portrayed by a famous Japanese actor, or at least they're using his likeness because he passed away. He's the legendary Toshiro Mifune, and I'm sorry, I don't know of him. Japanese cinema is kind of like my blind spot. I love movies, but yeah, I'm not too, but I gotta say I'm on board now because I think using his likeness is a great idea, because what you get here is a shockingly expressive character that immediately jumps out at you. Every cutscene, every moment, this character is just mugging on screen. Like, he's doing the Dwayne the Rock Johnson people's eyebrow. He's looking around. He's got like a smile to him. He's got a little bit of like a wit to him. And I think it really works because it just feels not ultra serious, while the game is very much rooted in like gross nastiness and all these horrific monsters killing civilians and creepy shit. He kind of keeps things just light enough. He's cool enough that like you want to play as him, you want to do cool shit with him, but it's not like overly serious. I also did play twice, and I played once with the English voice actor, and then the English voice actor sounds exactly like he's doing like an Idris Elba impersonation. So I switched to Japanese voice acting, and I thought it fit really, really well.
Right, Golden Lady. Enough of that. If you're awake, I've got questions.
I refuse.
You listen here.
But the big question I think a lot of people are asking, like, is it going to be a challenging game? Is it going to be a hard game? I don't know for sure, because what I played felt like a very early section of the game. And I think it's a game that won't be like absolutely brutal on normal difficulty, but I think it's something that is definitely going to be a good game to crank up the difficulty. So essentially you go around, you have like this special attack that you can burn a meter on. That's kind of like you summon these other elemental weapon type things. But the main combat is like a dodge, a block button, a heavy attack, and a light attack. Holding the block button, you can tank enemy hits, clang, clang, like stuff like that. But if you time it just right, you could do a parry, and you can kind of parry that attack and move an enemy to the side. You've probably seen it in the gameplay glimpses that they've put out there. When you get a good cling parry, you deflect them away. So you kind of fling an enemy that way, or like to the left or right of you. And usually if it's a smaller or humanoid-sized enemy, they'll go stumbling and they'll hit a wall, leaving them open to more damage. There's like a stagger meter. So that works really, really well. I couldn't really get a sense of like if I could direct like where they go, like when I deflect them and then push them away. Like I wasn't in control of that. Maybe that's like an upgrade or something. I couldn't quite figure that out, but you can also do a perfectly timed parry to open enemies up. This is like the one where essentially if you hit the block button at the right time and also hit a face button, you'll boom, open them up for a parry and they'll be stunned. And then you can just whoosh, one hit kill them. So that's that satisfying Japanese samurai thing you're looking for, where you get the clang, the enemy's wide open, and then you kill them. And with that, and when they're stunned, like you get some really, really good killing animations that I really, really like good finishers that felt very Onimusha, again, from like that scrunchy, squishy slash of the sword to enemies being just completely lopped in half, split down the middle, but also the character animation here really works well. And really with all the blocking and parrying and stuff. This Miyamoto Musashi like clearly is a master swordsman, and so with that comes a lot of like animations with him just easily cling, like one hand parrying, one hand deflecting, making it look cool, but also he'll do like a little whoosh, whoosh, and kill an enemy. And sometimes he'll do like a little bit of like a stumble with his momentum, but like in a cool way, and like pivot on his back foot. Like just stuff and like movement in a character that I haven't really seen in a game. Subtle things, yes, but like just cool. Along with that, I was able to get the timing down to deflect arrows back at ranged enemies, which just feels really, really good. Also worth noting, the game representatives that I had there with me were able to confirm Isin attacks. For old school fans, it's good to know. It's kind of like a good instant kill attack. You have to have perfect timing. I wasn't able to pull this off, so this isn't in my footage here. I don't know if it was like not unlocked yet because it was early in the game, or I just sucked, but at least I know they are in the game, so there's that at least. Basic enemies were no problem. They're like the filler fodder enemies that were like the starter enemies of all the Onimusha games. But once I got to like some more faster moving enemies, it felt a little more difficult. And with that, I almost feel like I needed more tools at my disposal to deal with these guys. But it did require dealing with block and parry and like really nailing that. Again, not like a Sekiro precision or a brutality of Dark Souls, but very much needing to deflect and parry. The window is not like wide open and like super easy mode, but it's also not like ultra mega tight. And again, I'm playing a work in progress version of the game. The game is still in development. A lot of this stuff could change, but I also got to do a boss battle, which you'll see on screen here. All of this is my gameplay, by the way. This was a good early boss battle because the character is just really cool, very like unsettling, kind of unpredictable type character. And then even in terms of the fight, you never really know exactly what he's gonna do, but all the parrying, all the deflecting, all the blocking felt really good in how it all tied together. Like when I nailed a successful parry or deflect, it would almost look like the animations, like it was almost like a cutscene. Like you didn't really see the seams as much as you normally would in a combat game like this, which I thought was really, really impressive. As they fight, the characters get blood on them, and also when you're fighting like a harder enemy that has like a stagger and you have time to do a special hit, when you do this special hit, you can actually target different areas of their body and then hit the button and strike that corresponding part, because that will draw different colored orbs out of that character, out of that enemy. So it's a Onimusha game, so you're still using the soul gauntlet and holding it to draw in orbs, whether it's health, special attack meter, stuff like that. And here it works really well because when there's a lot of enemies, I found myself very much needing to absorb some stuff, but only having a very brief window to doing some and trying to get it in, you know, that works. So like it still has a little bit of that like Onimusha-ness to it. But to me, this just feels like a very full-fledged third-person action adventure hack and slashy game. 。 There was one point where you're kind of like transported to a different realm, and you can use a little bit of like detective vision to figure out what's going on and like, you know, follow these souls and really see what's up. But with that just came a very different atmosphere, very creepy and dark, something cool, something a little different in this type of thing. But ultimately, and I said some of this in that previous video I did when I first saw gameplay, but now having played it, like I still really feel like, to me, This doesn't seem like this game that's going to like reinvent the wheel or do some crazy shit, but just a good game ass game, you know? Like it just when you see the gameplay and you think that's what it is, it really feels like that. But what I like from that is just the real like tactile nature of the clangs of the swords, the sound design, the spark of like the flash effect when swords connect and you deflect a guy behind you and he goes flying into a wall. That stuff really, really worked for me. And that made it feel a cut above your standard action third person hack and slashy game. I'm interested to see this one develop. This is from the game director is Satoru Nihei, who's somebody who has worked on a couple of other games, but like it seems like they're kind of coming out of nowhere with this one having the top spot. And so far, like it just feels like a confident, cool game. Again, I only got to see like one segment, one sequence. I didn't get to fight like a large monster. I got to fight another like guy with a sword. A lot of the enemies were definitely early enemies, but I like what I saw and I want to see more. Like I said when this was first announced, I was like, this is like probably one of my most anticipated, and I think it's still there. Like, again, I'm not surprised now. Like, I know exactly what it is, how it feels. But if they can nail it, if they can make this a consistent and entertaining game with a decent length, then I am certainly in. I still have plenty of questions in terms of like how the challenge will ramp up, how your tool set and how your move set will expand over the game. I didn't get to see any sense of real progression with stuff like that, but who knows? Maybe as it does get further along and it does get more difficult, it does become another freaking Souls-like game. But like either way, I'm just excited to see like the why factor, like why they really decided to make a new Onimusha game. Is it because they have like this weird, crazy story to tell, or is it just for that raw gameplay? Which again, so far, I think is pretty cool. Coupled with a charismatic, cool main character that just feels a little bit different than I've seen in other games. I am hopeful for Onimusha Way of the Sword, but again, this is just a preview. I got an early hands-on. This isn't a judgment call on the final game. It could still be a disaster. I'm not just covering my tracks, but sometimes it happens. So for now, I'd say cautiously optimistic. I think with Capcom games, we have been eaten well for a while now, and it's cool to see them bring Onimusha back. Maybe I'm a little blinded by nostalgia goggles. I don't know, but I want to know what you guys think. If you've seen more gameplay reveals recently, or if you just, saw that initial trailer, let me know how you're feeling about Onimusha Way of the Sword. But also, I'd love to just know your history, your context with the series. What was your first entry point? Was it Onimusha 3 with Jean Reno? Was it the original? None? The remake? The re-release, remaster? Let's talk. If you like what I'm trying to do here, man, I'm just talking about stuff I like, stuff I find interesting. Clicking the like button helps me out. I appreciate that. Subscribe as well if you're new. I put out videos usually like twice a week. I'm not going to spam you or anything like that. But that's it for now. I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's on me. See ya.